All right, people. So I am going to show you how to make a contact sheet in Photoshop. So you can actually start in Photoshop. You can see I don't even have a file open right now. I basically just opened Photoshop. So step one is that you're going to go up to this little BR icon in the top left. So you can hit Launch Bridge, and that will literally launch the bridge. Theoretically, let's go to. All right. So if yours doesn't pop up, you can just do what I just did. It goes File, New Window. The reason why mine didn't pop up because I was actually already using it, and then I closed it. So what will happen is it will pop up. Whatever you have on your desktop. On yours, you might have to go into Computer and then find your student file somewhere in there. I can't do that from my laptop, so I'm just going to show you from here. So I'm going to need to go in and find the folder that has the images that I want to locate. So for some reason I didn't title this folder, so it is just untitled folder. Some of the things you can set up from the get-go is to choose the template of your, basically how many little images you're going to have on your contact sheet. So essentially what a contact sheet is, it's a sheet that has a whole bunch of little thumbnails of all the pictures. You are going to need to submit one of these with each one of your projects, basically just to show that, yep, I took X amount of photos, and this is basically just my proof of that. So it's just a really easy way for me to be able to be like, oh yeah, you took more than 2 photos. So you're going to go to make sure it's on PDF. You'll know if it's basically looks like a button. You don't have to click on it unless it doesn't look like a button. Switch your template to 5x8. It's initially going to be set up as international paper because we're in America. You can switch it to US. Right, so that's 8.5 by 11. So that way, if for some reason, if you did want to print it out, that you could do that. There's really no reason for us to do that in class. We're going to keep the quality at 300 pixels per inch, right? So that's how many little squares there are per inch. And for our purposes, we can go down to 50 quality, which is fine. It's just going to make it so it's a little bit smaller file. We're going to keep the background as white. And this is actually another, so I also want you to label your files as well. So if you haven't labeled them yet with your last name, the type or title of that project, and then basically how many there are. This is a really easy place to make that happen. All right. As I was saying, sorry, there's hammering and whatnot in the background. So this is a really easy place to rename your stuff. You can actually batch rename it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the first one of our group. I'm going to scroll over to the last one in that group, and if I hold down Shift, you notice it highlights all of them. Okay, so it's basically, it's selecting more than one at a time. So now, if I hold down Control, you can see a little menu, papery looking thing pops up. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to scroll. And you can see now there's a thing that says Rename, Stack, Batch Rename. So we're going to batch rename because we want to take all of them that are in that batch and we're going to rename them at the same time. So this is basically a set of controls, I guess if you want to call it that, to help us rename it. So my text is going to be my last name, so Nelson, N-E-L-S-O-N. I'm going to hit underscore, so that way it kind of creates a gap. And you can actually see down here, it'll preview my files. For this one, I'm going to call it Albus. A-L-B-U-S underscore, and then it's going to sequence numbers. And I think initially it was on 4 digits. You can do that. I'm going to go with 2 digits because You know, if you think you're going to have more than that, you can go 3 digits, but I think 2 digits is just fine for our purposes. Well, at least for this set, because there's only like 10 in there. Actually, 13. So sequence number. Okay, so now you can look down here. It says Albus Nelson. That's me. Albus, that's the set. So for you, it might be texture or capturing culture or a couple of, you know, depending on what the project is or the requirements for that project. 0, 1, and I'm going to hit rename. So if you watch down at the bottom, now it says Nelson underscore Albus 1, Nelson underscore Albus 2. Okay, super easy way just to rename your files. You're going to need to rename your files for this, and it makes it a heck of a lot easier later down the road to actually, you know, find the stuff that you're looking for. Okay, so for our first project, you know, you need to label them as directional line. You need a label, so it'd be your last name underscore directional line underscore number, right? Or last name underscore close up underscore number. Okay, pretty easy. So now I need to select all the ones that I want to have in my contact sheet. So for me, I'm just going to do these Albus ones. So I'm going to select it the same way. So I'm going to click on it, scroll to the last one I need, hold down Shift, click, and now I can just hit save. Okay, and I'm going to title it Albus or Nelson underscore Albus underscore contact sheet. And for right now, I'm just going to save it on my desktop, right? Make sure you're saving it in a logical place. For you guys, you might want to make sure you're either saving it on a USB drive or your actual student save drive. So I'm going to hit save, generating PDF. Sweet. Okay, so let's see if we can find that. So I'm going to minimize this, and boom. Nope. Cabinet. Oh, that's the cabin contact sheet. That's when that was my practice one. Here we go. Nelson Albus contact sheet. So again, right? So now there it is. It's right there. I can zoom in and check them out. You can see they're still like decent quality. This is just an easy way to kind of like flip through images, check them out. Like if you want to, back in the day they used to make contact sheets and then take almost like a magnifying glass, and this is how they would choose which photos were going to go into, you know, the newspaper or magazine, or that they're actually going to print full size. So cool. So that is that. You will submit this with your images. It'd be awesome if you could put this on your website as well. You'll put it on as a file rather than image, because your website can't actually recognize a PDF as a image. So just upload it as a PDF as a file. All right, cool. Thank you much.